September 12th, the best record ever written, ever recorded, drops. Take that between the buried and me.
Nice.
The life and death of the Great Lakes.
Hell yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll.
And I'm your boy, Modd, and we got some strong boys in Lucius Fox in the house. Hell yeah. Jeremy, Paul, welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Thanks for having us again.
Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
Psyched. So you guys are the quickest returning guest on our show because the last episode was 104. This one will be 114.
Let's
Wow.
go.
I didn't realize it was. I mean, I know we just had you guys recently, but
also, when you guys were on, our episodes take 2 or 3, 4 weeks sometimes to come out. This one will be like, you guys are challenging me on a turnaround that I've never accomplished before, so I'm going to try to make a Tuesday turnaround on this. It might be a Wednesday. Editing a podcast in this caliber in 24 hours is a fucking feat, but I'm up for the challenge.
hell yeah.
So just so you know, because
We appreciate it.
Pushing you, man.
so
we got strong boys in the house.
No days off.
no days up. Well, the way you guys grind, you inspire me, so I'm just going to take that challenge upon myself. Today we're having you guys back in because we're talking about this album that you have coming out September 12th, right?
Yes.
So when you see this, it'll be Friday, where this is Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm hoping this is Tuesday just to keep it on the same path. But if I got to push it to Wednesday, because I also have to get all the clips and everything together.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm up for the challenge, but we're here to talk about this new record. You guys go back and listen to 104. We went through the Lucius Fox history. We talked about hair to note ratio, which you guys fucking absolutely have. We talked about
Only ratio that matters.
yeah, exactly. We talked about you guys not being a minimalist band. You guys are a maximalist band. So we
Yes.
talked about that. We talked about obviously the history, everything, how kind of you guys got into everything. And to be honest, it was kind of one of my favorite conversations of this year, to be honest, especially after listening to it back and getting ready for this. You guys are just awesome dudes and fucking hella players, man. Totally inspirational. So
Thank you.
we're going to dive into this. How is everything going today with you guys?
Not too bad. Made it here safe.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, so I know last time we kind of talked for about 2 hours and there was some stuff we didn't get into, so maybe we'll try to, integrate that into today's conversation. But like I said, the main focus, I'd like to break this down track by track if you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
We'll go right into this album and we'll see, we'll get some feedback on it. I will say this, with this album, it is so impactful reading your essay about it, because Modd had mentioned on the previous podcast where you kind of explain these songs in a way that you can really dive into them, and there's no lyrics there, obviously, it's instrumental. But when you're reading this stuff about these songs, it just brings so much life into these. And I feel like this batch of songs is so personal to you, and I'm sure to you as well, Paul. I mean, the work that went into this is just, it blows my mind what you guys pulled off on this. But knowing the actual, theme behind the whole album or whatever, it strikes me in a different way. Like, when I was done listening to it, I'm like, everybody needs to hear this. Yeah. Everybody needs to read this. And to me, this is like a magnum opus of work that, I mean, I just don't even understand, not just the work, but the meaning behind it is incredible to me, man. I'm like speechless.
Thank you.
And it meant a lot to me too, because it's
Yeah.
I felt your pain, I felt your sorrow, I felt your happiness, I felt your turmoil. Maybe that's just me, and I'm just love art as well. But at the same time, this is way more than two dudes just shredding on the fucking for 40 or 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
This is more than that. Whereas the old Lucius, it all had meaning, right? It all had, you guys put your heart and soul into that, but it's like, hey man, fucking, we're doing something here. This is just some next level shit that it's hard for me to comprehend. So
Thank you.
what do you got anything to say, Nick, before we dive into this?
I love everything that you said. I feel the same way. I felt like with the story being so personal, I could see why these songs took so long. What, 5 years was it? In the making, some of the stuff. It sounds
Kinda,
like
yeah.
you've been toiling with these for a long time, and I think to a good end to finally put them out and tell the story that you have to share. And we'll let Jeremy speak on that as much as he likes. But the same thing, like my heart was in this, and by the time the last track comes on, I'm like 2 seconds in, and I'm like, oh, I could feel it like that. I could just tell by the time July came on that like I was in for a long journey just on that track alone. Like we came a long way to get there, and then I was like, oh, July. I could feel the weight of it, and it was beautiful immediately. So the whole album is beautiful, and I feel the same as Jay. I really hope that people take the time to listen to this because you're going for a ride. There's so much beauty in this, and there's a lot of energy in it too, just in the playing. So congratulations to you guys on a job well done putting this thing together. The Death and Life of the Great Lakes. What an amazing album. So hats off to you, gentlemen. Literally.
Thank you.
We'll get
For
that.
sure.
We'll get that in there. Where should we start, Jay? What do you got?
Well, the first thing I want to start is BT Bam. I hope you hear this podcast. Take these fuckers on tour right now.
Yes.
Like they're ready to go. Like they're there. Like they will go.
We made the mistake of putting out our album on the same day as them. I didn't realize that their new album comes out next Friday too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they have some competition.
Yeah. Actually, I should flip that around. They made the mistake.
Yeah,
of putting
they
out an
made
album
the
the same day
mistake.
as
That's a
us.
good
Yeah.
That'd be good for prog metal fans. They can absorb their album and then jump onto yours. Or vice versa.
And then when they see you guys on tour with them next year, it'll all make sense.
Oh yeah.
And then when you're on tour with them, send them to our podcast.
Yeah. We'll make it work. We'll
We're
make
big
it work.
fans of them too.
So, just right where I want to start, I kind of just want to get you guys' input before we kind of even, because we'll dive into this song by song, but I just go ahead and give me the overall synopsis. I know we talked a little bit about it previously, but we didn't dive into it too much. There wasn't a name, there wasn't art, all that wasn't revealed last time. It was just like, hey, we were just kind of finish up recording something that was like, what's next for Lucius Fox? Well, what's next is what's here today. So if you want to speak on whatever you want to speak on, give us an overview, and then same with you, Paul, kind of how you guys approached it, and then we'll just start diving in track by track if that sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when we were here in May, I think we had like just finished recording it, and we were, I don't know, like a few weeks away from like having everything totally done with it. And so we were just like at a really like, we were like ready to start doing stuff, but it just wasn't there yet. But yeah, it's been, I don't know, like we've been like really working on this album for maybe like a year and a half. Like we were working on it in kind of the beginning of 2024, and we kind of like solidified sort of the 5 Great Lakes pieces of it. And then we had this kind of like bigger concept where we were going to do those 5 and then do 5 more that were like built off of those songs, and like bring in vocalists for those. And then do like one other piece that was like just a monster, like probably like 20-30 minute long instrumental piece, and it'd be kind of like a trilogy. And I think we still want to do the other 2 parts. Like we've been talking to some friends about like the vocal collaborations. But then my mom passed away last summer, and then that just kind of changed the arc of my writing. So we ended up with the 2 bookending pieces that sort of tie in with the Lake Michigan track pretty specifically.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Paul? Where are you at with that?
I mean, like everything that he said, I feel like we had a plan for it. Some unfortunate, like terrible thing happened, and the trajectory kind of changed. And to touch on what you said earlier, like I definitely think out of everything we've written, this has the most meaning behind it. Like we've always had some meaning, but like this, every track, I think there's something more special than really what we put together. And like all of it kind of came together as one piece. And it's just, I mean, I think both of us this is the biggest and most proud like we've been of anything. It was just like, okay, this is it. This is exactly what we wanted to do with this. This is, I don't want to say perfect, but it's what we wanted to put out.
We set pretty high expectations for ourselves, and like I feel pretty good about where we landed with it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, always like I feel like there's always the push. Well, the next one's gonna be better, or we're gonna like we're gonna do something on a higher level. We're gonna do this. But I mean, we're still in that phase right now where it's like, hell yeah, it comes out next week. We got records, they look cool.
Right.
And so yeah, I'm just really proud of it and really stoked with how it came out.
Hell yeah, and you guys should be. I also think just kind of dive on that a little bit deeper. Having a little more meaning. Whereas like the Great Lakes, you've touched the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
You've dealt with the loss, and I'm also sorry for your loss, dude.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I can't imagine what that's like. But before we kind of had some planetary stuff, so it's like what you read, kind of what you see in pictures, what you see in video. You know what I mean? Like you don't touch that stuff. That's
right.
not. It's personal to you because you like it. And then we talked about what was it, like the red dwarf star?
Yeah.
The red giant. Yep. Yeah. Actually, and then the Saurus, whatever.
The Basilosaurus.
Yeah.
But it's all like way more abstract.
Exactly.
Versus
it's
like,
kind of like you take your own meaning out of it and you put some meaning behind it. But like this is all I've touched every part of this thematically as well as musically, right? So I think that really shines through on this.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, just production wise, we'll just talk about that first before we start diving into each song. I love the production of this. It's
Thank you.
Everything shines through. I hear every one of your bells, your drums, your cymbals. Nothing gets lost in the mix. There's enough low end. There's enough just polish on it, but it doesn't sound artificial either because the technicality is there, but it sounds natural, but I can hear everything. So this, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Chris Frankhauser.
Okay, so he knows what the hell he's doing.
He's a monster.
Obviously, he also did one with the River Red stuff, and then there was somebody else.
I was going to say our last
one.
He did as well.
He did that.
With him and Blake, like both.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just stuck with them because we were pretty happy with the last thing too.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of like a level up of just like, oh, awesome. This is great.
He's done a lot of Bliss Head stuff too. I don't know if y'all are familiar with them.
But no.
They're a GR kind of like post-hardcore band. But he's amazing. Like he's a true king of his craft, and just like he ran with all of our like wild ideas. I mean, like the drum production is amazing. The like kind of like my plan for guitar was to leave my distorted tone like a little bit cleaner than I usually would. Mm-hmm. And so I used kind of like a split single coil position that's almost kind of like more like a country kind of guitar tone. And I backed off on the distortion. But I feel like that paired with like the bass signal that I ran, paired with actually we doubled everything an octave above guitar and have that in the mix too. So there's this like almost kind of like string quartet sort of feel. Like individually it all sounds kind of weird, but together it just like meshed like exactly how I wanted it to. So I'm really happy with the guitar sound and just like how everything sits. It's a lot of stuff going on at the same time, but I feel like it comes through pretty clearly.
So am I hearing that you did use bass guitar in the recording?
So not actual bass guitar, but like my guitar signal dropped through an octave pedal.
Okay. I was like, these days, like it's almost like with the tones and the drop tuning and the pedals, if you don't have a bass player, you could just emulate that on a 6 or 7 string probably. And I had thought Blake had used bass guitar on his Bronson Arm recording. He's like, nope, that's all guitar. And I figured probably the same with these guys. Didn't actually reach for a bass guitar and play that, or have a need for an actual bass on the album because you can reach that low with your guitar as it is. But
we wanted to sound as true to our live sound as possible. We'll like having the merits of a recorded thing. So I mean, it's like the same kind of like configuration as my amps live. So I have like 2 guitar amps that run a traditional guitar signal, and then a bass amp with like a dropped bass, just like an octave down with this like bass emulator pedal going through a bass amp. And then live I only have one of the octave above guitar, but I think on the recording we kind of double tracked it just for fullness. But they're all there.
Yeah.
Sounded great. I
Thank
loved
you.
it.
There was a few parts on there that I heard that low end almost, and that makes sense, and I put a few notes in here. But for me, it's like the challenge that this guy had to, because what you guys presented, I imagine it was a challenge that he's never had to face before because of the production, the way all the songs kind of go together, some of the guitar effects. I'm just like, I'm sure that was an idea in your head, but when you're like, hey, you said his name is Chris, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, Chris, and he's kind of like, oh shit.
He's a very
let's try.
dude.
I will say to his merit. Like everything that we brought up that he was like, oh, I haven't done this, or like, okay, let's try and figure. Like, it was like almost always excitement on his end. He's like, oh, that's all. Like, I want to try and figure this out, and let's see how we can get there. And it was just, I don't think we have any plans of doing anything with anyone else in the near future, because it's just, he runs it out of his house, so it's super comfortable. He's always
it's like a mile
gracious. Yeah,
and a
it's
half
just
away
like,
from my house too, so that's pretty cool. He lives close by.
Yeah, and then also he's just
amazing.
You
dude.
can tell I mean, not many people get into that kind of stuff without loving music, but you can tell the level that he does is just like, he's sitting there just like, whoop, like, oh man, like there's a section in, I think it's the last song, like, I just do this weird like kind of snare thing, and like when he's going through, he's like, that's my favorite drum. He's like that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, and then, like we were just kind of laughing. It's like, it's great to see the guy who's stuck listening to this over and over and over again to just get excited the 15th, 20th time he's hearing it and still being like, ooh, and it's like,
good,
dude, like I'm starting to get kind of tired of this because I had to play it all weekend. And he's like, oh, this is great. I'm like, dude, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, he did a phenomenal job too, so that can't be understated. I know you guys had to come in and play everything and have, you know, the vision and the direction, but having him be able to take what you guys present to him, and then, because sometimes this just becomes a wall of sound sometimes, and just be able to get each individual instrument so I can still hear everything, especially when you come in sometimes with like a loop and then a lead on top of that, and then you got Animal back here just going the fuck off, like just, I mean, so yeah, so let's dive into this, and then we'll, at the end, what I would like to do is I'm just going to have you kind of maybe give like a minute blurb. I should have said this before we started recording, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have you just give like a minute blurb like into the camera directly, and then we'll just kind of use that as one of the clips just to promote the record, because that's
Sick.
the best
Thank
way.
you.
That's one of the best ways to do it. And so we'll just have a clip of you just talking about the record or whatever. And you could do the same, like you could split it up, or however you guys want to do it. It doesn't really matter. But I'll use that for the clip. That way we just have one clip that's just for the record.
Thank you.
Because sometimes when I'm putting the clips together, I try to go through and like piece together as we're talking about the record, but I don't have one where it's just like, it comes out on this day, there's this, we did this. You know, I want everything that you want people to know about it, and we'll just do that like at the end, and I'll just kind of cut it or whatever. So,
sounds great.
But yeah, so getting into the death and life of Great Lakes. First things first, I know the title itself kind of meant something to you and took on a meaning. Do you want to speak a little bit about that before we kind of dive into each song?
Yeah. So it's a really good book. There's a book called The Death and Life of the Great Lakes by a journalist named Dan Egan, who I believe lives in Milwaukee. And I read that maybe like 4 or 5 years ago now. And definitely like it kind of informed some of my writing on our last full-length album, Soul Nostalgia. But it's a good overview of like a lot of the kind of like environmental and like social, I don't know, challenges faced by the Great Lakes region, and gives it like a good, like easily accessible overview of a lot of the science. And it's just a really good like science read that's like funny in spots and just accessible, which I think is really important when with communicating that kind of stuff, is making sure that anybody could read it and take away the big ideas. So like I was kind of going with that idea for a name, and then my mom passed away, so I was like, oh shit, this like kind of is a heavier meaning now.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be a cool name, and then it like became more of a thing. I reached out. It's weird. I reached out to that guy to like try to get his blessing. Like not that he would like care what this band is doing with the name of his book, but he never emailed me back. So if you ever see this, Dan Egan, I emailed you. Check your email. And thank you. And you're in the liner notes. So good work.
Okay. So jumping into this then, the Lake Isle Memorial. Obviously this one was a little more personal. I am going to read the smaller blurbs that you put with
absolutely.
this. Obviously, there's an extended version of this. You can read it on the Bandcamp, or you can click the link or whatever. So I would suggest you go read that. I highly encourage that, because it put a lot of meaning for me behind these songs. I think the little blurbs help too, because then some people won't read all of that, but I think it's important if they do, because just to get the meaning behind it, just it means a lot. So Lake Isle Memorial, a tribute to Roxanne Smith Crunk, my mom and my favorite person. Lake Isle Beach was her favorite place on earth. What can I say about this besides the fact that it's like heavy in a different way? Like this, it's not necessarily a heavy song, right? Like for the most part, it's almost kind of country to come in, right? Just some beautiful chords, just some lush soundscapes, just meant a lot. Like it just took me on a visual journey. And what a great song this was, man. You can speak on it.
My note on it was it's a beautiful tribute to Jeremy's mother. 3/4 of the song is a clean passage that ultimately rolls into some of the staple work, busy style of Lucius Fox. So about 3/4 of it, you're kind of chilling and riding that wave. And I'll go with as many water puns as I can today. I'm gonna get them all in. But no, it was a beautiful tribute to your mother, Jeremy, and a great way to start your album. And it does roll into some of that Lucius Fox style that you can count on with the busy pull-offs and just a lot of that is just like that. I call it busy work. I use the word busy work throughout. When you go into like all of those pull-offs and all of those runs, I'm like, and Paul, you follow him pretty well on the snare, just like a lot of snare rolls and. Well, you do a lot on the drum kit back there, son. But but yeah, you do a great job of complimenting Jeremy's guitar playing, and I thought it was a great way to open up the album.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's a cool song. I wrote it's like the chord progression that comes in at the end. I'd written that like shortly before my mom passed away, and I knew that it was in the same key as Michigan. The song that comes after on the album. And I was actually like, I was at the lake when I wrote it. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Like, I feel like I've already like set aside all the stuff that I can for this like part of the album where I'm using this key and I'm focusing on Lake Michigan. And then that happened. And then I didn't play guitar for a few days, but when I did pick it up, I was like, oh, I'm going to write something for my mom. So I was up north, like I was supposed to go on vacation with my mom, like just before she passed away. And so I was kind of like, after that happened and I was like dealing with all that, I was like, well, do I still fucking go? Like, I don't know what to do, but like my family was really cool. And like, yeah, you should be up here. Like we're all up here. Like, why would you just stay at home? So I was up north with my aunt and uncle and cousins, and we had like a rainy day. And so I was just like playing guitar on the porch, and my aunt and my cousin were hanging out. And I wrote a lot of like the melodies in that song and like the guitar parts. And then I was like, oh, I have that thing that I wrote like a week ago. I can jam that in there. And that kind of became that. And then I just sort of refined it over the next like few weeks. Like I was like working on stuff at my mom's place and like figuring out like all that stuff. And I'd be like, wow, this fucking blows. I got to get out of here. And then I'd like go up north and mountain bike and go to the beach and like camp for a day. And then I'd like play guitar on the beach and kind of like made that into a full piece.
Oh yeah. Nice. What about your approach on this, Paul? I mean,
I can't say, well, cause like, I mean, when he was dealing with that, like I didn't, I don't want to be like, oh, it's about me. But like, I had no idea what to do. It was just like,
right.
Jesus, like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Like,
right.
It was just like, okay. Like, I was more like, hey, if you ever need anything, this, that, do whatever you do. And then he brought that. Like, he's like, hey, I have this song. And then it's like, okay. Like, it was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Like you guys was like, okay. Like, this is beautiful. So I'm just like, I don't need to do much.
Right.
Until it gets heavy. And then I was like, okay. So it was just, hey, this is yours. Honestly, I think at the beginning, maybe I was even like, I don't even have to do drums for the pretty part. Like we do whatever. And then we kind of just started jamming on it. And I slowly did a little and we were both like, hey, yeah, this is pretty good. So then we kind of just started from there and it progressed a little bit and then got into the realm we're more comfortable with of just the busy work and doing heavy stuff at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome song. I do want to comment, and I'll comment a few times on here. I just love how like sometimes you could be playing. We'll just say that's like almost a country part, something a little different for Lucius Fox. Like like it's all instrumental, right? It's all like technical. It's all progressive. It's all dynamic. But you still introduce something new that we kind of haven't heard before, and you kind of take it there, and you have the courage to do that, and I love that. And I just love how Paul will come in and he'll play exactly what needs to be played under that part. He won't be like, let me still try to like grind over this. I mean, sometimes, yeah, right? But like for the most part, it's like you kind of know when to pick and choose what fits for that song. And I love the way your beats complement on this. And I got a few notes on that, and I'll have a few more examples as we go. But
hell yeah.
Then this rolls right in. So when I first listened to this, I was writing a few notes, but I didn't realize because I was listening to the YouTube stream where it just goes all the way through.
Yeah.
So I was writing a few notes, and I was kind of thinking it was the same song because I didn't really know. And then when I sat down yesterday and I really realized how each song basically just goes into the next song, so you kind of don't even know when it starts. Yeah, it starts or stops. So a few of my notes, I was like, wait, that ain't this song, because I thought this was all one song. But
same. When I got to Superior, I was like, oh, we're not on the last track. We're on Superior now. So I'm taking all these notes myself as I'm listening to it. I'm like, basically, I'm just kind of like, just summarizing what the riff is. Like, I'm just proof that I listened to it. I know every single riff, and here's the description. But I was like, and I looked at the timestamp, and I'm like, I'm already into Superior, so I had to like adjust my notes so that I'm talking about the correct song. But and real quick before I pass it back to Jason, I just wanted to say I love how many clean passages there are on this album.
Thanks.
Because I really already knew that you guys could do that from your previous work. That's not a question. But I love how you really leaned into it, because you can do a lot of that heavy, fast work aplenty, and I know you're good for it, but I think it really gives the album so much like fresh air and just, like a weight off of the chest with all of the clean passages. You really did a great job writing those parts. They're super pretty, beautiful, and hats off again to those, because I can count on you. I know I'm gonna get to that chaos. I know we're gonna let Paul loose at some point. We're just gonna let him go.
The shackles.
But the way that the path that you took to get to that busy work was really great, really patient, and again, the clean passages really won me over, hand over fist on this album.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff.
So then we roll into Michigan. Oh yeah, let me before we roll into Michigan, I do want to say this, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, every time a new part came up, I was about to write a note, and I'm like, I'm just gonna write a note about every riff these fucking guys do. Like, what sense does this make, just to tell you what you did on the fucking record? Like, yeah, I know, I did that too.
You're like, yeah, we wrote that. Yeah, we did.
I was like, how do I actually put this into words that make sense? Because it's just like, oh, another sweet part. That's all I just put. Another sweet part.
I will say, though, I feel like, this is the biggest album, or the second biggest album that we've done. I will say, I think this is the most where it's light, gets into heavy, goes back to like
lots of dynamics.
Yeah, it's the most where it's like, hey, we got some really pretty parts. Oh, it's a dancey part. Oh, and then it's rip your face off right after that, and then it goes back to this. It's a lot of back and forth, which is pretty nice, because we got it to flow where it wasn't super like, oh, that was a really hard turn. There's a few, but I think they blend pretty well.
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job of building the parts where you didn't have to just cut it off and do something new. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's a bit of a metal technique. We just butt two riffs together. We don't care. That's the next riff I want. I'm doing it. Yeah. But you guys have a really great way of just letting the music build with the layers of the keyboards and the second guitar part, and just shifting the beat underneath the passage that stays the same musically, but then your beat will change. You guys just do such a great job of progressing all of these riffs until it's something entirely different at some point along the way. So, yeah, really, really great job of utilizing the dynamics and the, just the different just feel that you added to all of the riffs.
So, and then one more thing, we're about to jump into Michigan, the second song here, but I do want to make note of the point that you made the length of the songs in correlation to the size of the lake. So I thought that was super cool too.
Thank you.
I thought that was a really nice touch. But Michigan, Lake Michigan in July, 2 waves, doing sunset on the lake, summer air, sand and pine, the best part of living in Michigan, which, that's one of the lakes I've visited the most, and every time I go there, you feel refreshed, and just, you can just drive down by there. For us, it's easy because we just drive 10 minutes that way, and we get to be there. Yeah. Even if we don't get out of the car, we almost get to take advantage of just the sunset and the feel and the vibe, even if we don't decide to walk on the sand. But I just put JFC, if you're religious, you know what that means. This is nuts, just because it comes in. Just ripping, but I just love the chord progression to follow. And then I put this as well, flawless transition into this song, and then you're building that, then you kind of add the chorus effect on top of that arpeggio, which kind of takes that from like, okay, we're doing this, and then it just progresses a little further because we add that like chorusy effect on there. I put the end arpeggio riff is so damn good, and then I just put Paul, you are ruling this. And just so I'm correct, at the end of Michigan, does this one go back and you were doing a clean part, but you're playing more like the thrash beat at the end of this? Or is that Huron you do that? Because I put a note on that, but that's where I got a little confused on that particular note because I was like, was that at the end of Michigan? But there's a part where you're kind of doing this clean thing. You're kind of like doing a 2/4 beat, and it just sounds really cool because you're just kind of keeping it almost a mid pace with the cleans, and you're just kind of almost thrash beating back there, but it just makes sense together. I'm just like, man, it's super cool.
I think that's probably Michigan. Or
yeah.
is it?
It's at the end
think
of
it is
song.
because once we go,
like the odd timing, or
it's not odd timing, but I do think like I'm still going heavy because then the flow into the next song is pretty.
Heavy.
So it's just like I think that's why I wanted to try and match that flow. So instead of drop it and then go right back, I'm like, hey, I can still do something like this, and then the transition is gonna, at least for the drums, is gonna be pretty level.
It won't be all jerky and stuff where you're just like back and forth. Yeah, because that can get kind of weird sometimes too when it's just like heavy part, soft part, heavy part, soft part. You know what I mean? It gets a little redundant after a while, so you got to really be able to get those turnarounds and those flows, happening. But that part was cool. I just thought it was like, this was interesting because maybe another guy might just be like, not this guy. He's like, and you're just like, like it's just kind of a mid pace. You're not going super crazy, but it is a clean part, and he's just giving it his all. I'm like, that's the Lucius Fox that I know right there. That is fucking awesome and interesting. So. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so picking up off the tail end of Lake Isle Memorial, we got a high energy for the first half of the song until the waves finally crash into a breather of a chord progression before the current pulls us back into a lot busier section.
Beautiful.
Then it ends on a melodic section that bends into a clean passage, which then will build up into the beginning of Huron.
Shit, do you want to write?
We could write together, Jeremy.
Let's hire him for our next album release.
Jeremy, he's an educator. He knows what he's doing on the Word document. He don't need my help. But I love reading your stuff, and it inspires me too. I was like, I can get wordy with it.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's why he writes all the lyrics, and I just give him the ideas sometimes. That's why I let him do all the wording for the social media, because that is not my strong suit.
I do my best, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Make this sound good.
Yes, please. So great work, and then we roll into Huron. Before we get into Huron, Jeremy, we should have your input on Michigan.
I'm really proud of that song. It's I don't know, like I feel like there are some tropes that have come up in this project. Just like I feel like that is like a very like Lucius Fox song. Like I really like writing in major keys and still trying to make it heavy somehow, and I love the key that's in and like the tuning that I use for it. Or really it's like capo placement. But I just like it's a cool song, and it's hard and there's like the big section where it just goes to the chord holds that like every time we play, like me and Paul are just like, this is cool. And then it just goes into blast, and then I get to play a solo, and then there's the weird 7/8 outro that is like hard as fuck to play, but it feels cool that I can nail it and play it now, and it's a lot of fun to play. Like I really like that song a lot. Or I like, and I'm not like jerking myself off way. Like I'm proud of that song that we wrote together.
You should be.
You have your right to be, and I think that's a greater point to make across the board for all musicians and people in general. Is it's okay to be proud of something. If you put in the work. And I don't think we allow that. People are hesitant to sound like they're bragging. It's not bragging. You did the work. You have the final product. Right. Here it is. We're here to talk about it now. It's okay. I mean, I'm happy for you, man, to come this far, and especially for what the album means in terms of content to you personally, but musically also just another great Lucius Fox release. So yeah, by all means, both you guys can be proud of yourselves. It's quite all right. I mean, and we're here to tell you that.
Thanks.
Yeah, and if you said this part was easy, and we'd be like, "What? Are you serious, dude?" Because when you said it was hard, I was like, hey, "Aren't they all?"
Yeah. But it's like every time we played, I'm like, man, I'm glad that I mostly landed that riff. Like the opening specifically, like that's so hard, and it's just like I still like I try to play guitar every day, and like I'll usually like play that riff. Like I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna like set a metronome. I hate this. I'm gonna do it though, and I'm just gonna like loop it for a couple minutes just because I need to. Like, I don't want to fall off on it because it's hard.
Do you slow it down?
I do sometimes, or like I'll play it like usually. Honestly, like a lot of the time I end up just playing on my acoustic guitar because it's just I can go on my porch and do that without having to set everything up. And like lately we've been just going really hard, so it's like, man, half the time, like if I know I'm going to Paul's on Wednesday and we're playing on Saturday, I'm like, man, I don't need to like haul my stuff out of my car into the basement and then like put it back in my car. Like I could just leave it. But yeah, I'll just like I'll play it slower and then I'll try to get to tempo and
playing any of that stuff on an acoustic guitar, that's why we call you strong boys. That's not easy. Playing an acoustic
like
guitar,
running with the chute, like
yeah.
But yeah, then it feels better on an electric.
Yeah,
when I do get there, I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, this
easy.
isn't that bad.
So before we move on to Huron, though, do you guys ever like? I would expect this out of you, Jeremy. You ever just be on Lake Michigan and really look at it and take it in for the beauty that it is in terms of like we don't really have. There's not a lot of this in the world.
Yeah,
there are not really a lot of beaches like this in the world. I've been to a lot of places. Beaches are a lot smaller.
Yeah,
when you go to other places in the world. Like Lake Michigan is hundreds of miles of beautiful, awesome, sandy beach. And I think a lot of people in this area just really take it for granted. Oh, the beach is in our backyard, whatever. Yeah. Well, go anywhere else in the landlocked 48 states. You're not getting Lake Michigan anywhere. So I like to stand out on the end of that pier, like Pier Marquette.
Yeah.
Or even, I'm based in Whitehall, so sometimes I go out there. But my favorite joint is Pier Marquette. Yeah. And I'll just stand out there by that red lighthouse and I'll just look up and down, both north and south, and I try to impart this to my daughter. I was like, take it in, take a good long look. We don't have this anywhere else. This is rare. We don't really appreciate how rare this is and how beautiful this is. Miles of sandy beach, green, foresty hilltops. Like, you know, I've been to some beaches, but they're small and dank compared to what we have.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, all of the Great Lakes are awesome. I've definitely been up on Lake Superior. I've been up to the Sioux Locks, and I've seen all of these lakes. But Lake Michigan is home, and I really think that if you're listening to this and you've been out to the beach and you just have a good time, that's great. But the next time you get out there, it's getting cold now, so maybe next summer or even tail end of the summer, really sit there and look at how beautiful this beach is, and all of us should just be doing our best to not only appreciate it, but take care of it. Like mind the water, mind the environment, mind the sand dunes. We've got some really cool land environment area out here in our county, the whole lakeshore here, the whole lake.
Absolutely.
I would like to add to that too. Then listen to the Lucius Fox album as you're staring out there. How about that?
Yeah,
100%. Real talk. 100%. Go for a hike at Hoffmaster and put this in your ears.
Yeah.
I mean, even with you guys. I mean, Kazoo, Lansing. Like, if you
I
want to
lived in
see something,
Kalamazoo
you
for a
guys
long
got to
time.
drive a ways. I remember, even some buddies in Grand Rapids were talking like, well, we're trying to go to some lake when it was like a hot day or whatever. It was just like, well, what lake? Well, we just got this small little lake around. You know what I mean? We do take it for granted because if we're hot and we want to go to the beach, we can just go jump in that bitch, go right down there 10 minutes away.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it does kind of suck for us because everything that happens in our state happens in the middle or the other side of the state as far as the stuff we're into, shows and those kind of things. So for us, it's a drive to go to the shows and things, but we do have the luxury of just having this giant body of water right there, you know. So
yeah, at least you're somewhat close.
Yeah, definitely.
Paul, did you have anything to speak about Michigan or expound on that at all, or
not too much?
Okay.
I mean, I think Jeremy's gonna nail most of these, and
that's cool. I just want to make sure that
Oh, for sure. I appreciate
you got
it.
any feedback or anything that any challenges or
do you get out to the water for some playtime? You got any activities you like on the beach, Paul?
I mean, I love the beach as much as anybody, I think, and funny enough, like I feel like most of the time, like I'd like getting out of there in the fall and the winter. Just for a hike, trying to find a hiking path a little bit further north, and just going for a hike and then sitting on the beach, having some food that I bring with, and just I don't know, with a little bit of snow, gets even prettier, I think.
Yeah,
where it's just
I
like,
love it.
oh,
It's beautiful
this
in
is
the winter.
always gorgeous. No matter what time of year it is, no matter if it's stormy,
Yeah.
if it's cloudy, if it's sunny and beautiful and you can go in the water or you can't, it's just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
The coldest I've ever been in my life has been walking up and down the beaches of Lake Michigan in the dead of winter.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's
Just-
when there's nothing to block the wind, it's freezing.
Yep.
And you're just like,
Yep.
I'm looking, but my eyes are starting to freeze over and I'm crying.
I felt wind just blow through my
Yeah.
body, like just oh my
Cutting.
god, I'm cold.
Yeah.
But you get out there with some frozen waves. That's something to look at.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
fun.
gosh,
You
yeah.
got like these 10, 15 foot high crests that are locked in place now. Actually,
Yeah.
we did something.
Yeah, we took the band photo out
Pretty dumb.
there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
we out on the
You're
ice.
like, all right,
we
how many
walked out
pictures do
there.
we need?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can find it. I know I think it's in the
new
newest
release.
record or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, hell
but it's,
yeah.
it's just
I wanna
kind of
see
funny
that.
because we're trying to be tough, but you can just tell it's like so
We're
cold that
cold.
our
Yeah.
faces are kind of like.
You're starting to get nose icicles. You're like, okay, come on, guys.
This is so metal, guys.
I feel like I got to jump in with a real quick PSA for the kids. Don't do it. Don't
it's
go
not
out there.
that cool.
I didn't
Stuff,
know.
yeah.
I didn't know exactly how dangerous
Yeah.
this could be. So you can look this up. What happens is those waves will like freeze, but then you'll have like air and nothing.
Yeah.
So what it looks like it's solid ice, and you're standing on it, might not be solid as you think.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you fall through, that's a bad day. That's
Yeah.
probably your last day because you're 10 to 15 feet from where you fell through now.
Yeah.
And there's really no getting back up. Now, falling through ice while you're ice fishing, you maybe crawl out of that. We had
Colin.
thank you.
Yeah.
From Throne on here. He was talking about his first time falling through the ice
Oh my gosh.
ice fishing, and guy just lift up his shanty. He's like, go flat. Threw the shanty back down, and that was nobody came to help him. But they knew that wasn't as dangerous as say falling through an ice shelf out on Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So I discovered that after the fact. It was like, there's air, like you could fall through
Yeah.
that. So kids, don't do it. Really,
And
don't.
we didn't go that far. out
No,
there. just
we
kinda-
definitely did it very gingerly.
Yeah.
Like we walked on land, and then there was a way. There was like kind of a bit of a footpath, and I was like, okay, everybody just like tiptoe out there, but never again, never again. Don't do it.
You got the photos.
got
Yes.
the one hard as fuck photo, cold too.
we did it. So, all right. So, moving right on to Huron. Fear of an oil spill from Line 5 and damage it would cause to Lakes Huron and Michigan, the beauty of the limestone cliffs along the shore of Bruce Peninsula. To me, this intro is epic as fuck. Just the tom build, like, just crescendoing into something. I did notice we got some repeating parts on a lot of these songs. We call it back, so don't think I didn't fucking hear that. I put riffs, JFC riffs, again for the religious folk in the building. The bell work on this and the drums are just phenomenal. The clean part is absolutely stunning with a build into the solo lead. And I just what an absolute great song. And then I just put fucking Animal on the drums back here, man. Just, So
This one for me, it starts like a train barreling down the tracks. I love the tom work by Paul to give this song a bit of a different feel from the first 9.5 minutes on the album. The busy riffage picks up about 1 minute into the song, builds up into a bit of a frenzy about 2.5, 3 minutes in, and then the storm rolls into a steady beat before breaking all the way down into a nice, peaceful, clean passage. I love the chord progression and the layers once the distortion comes back in, and the guitar melody on top of that is choice. I love the simplicity and the repetitiveness of it. It sticks in my head. The song ends with a cool combination of a chord progression and Jeremy's run-on fills. So I just did my best to kind of like narrate what's happening, but
Yeah.
I want to give people an idea when they're listening to it as we're hyping it up. Like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Left and right, up and down, clean, dirty. It's all there. Very fun, but beautiful as well. So here on another great track.
And like I said, I couldn't write it. Like I'd write a note about every riff, and then it just wouldn't make sense. So I just kind of word vomited a few things that was going through my head. But then it's like, as soon as I knew something came in, I just wanted to write another note. But that just listen to the fucking album, man. So tell us a little bit about Huron, gentlemen.
I also love the drums on that intro. Like the build is so cool,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's probably like maybe our most like I don't know, like kind of like 80s-y prog sounding section on the album, but it always feels really cool to play. It's fun to like go directly from Michigan, get that loop going, and then Paul's just doing his thing on the toms and building it up, and then I'm like trying to play synth and guitar at the same time. And then it's just like a riff fest. That's a blast. That song gets down pretty hard, and then it opens up, and I'm really proud of that like outro chords. So like with each of these songs, I started it with a chord progression that would be like kind of the theme, like the Michigan theme, the Huron theme. So for Huron, like the Huron theme is that chord progression, that clean progression at the end that just kind of like builds and gets like louder and louder and louder. So initially like the idea was like, okay, the Huron theme is going to be in this one, and then the Huron with a vocalist too. And so, yeah, that outro part is that, and the beginning is like the more kind of like dark, like anti-Enbridge, piratey sounding prog stuff, and then the outro is like kind of reflecting on the beauty of Lake Huron and Bruce Peninsula specifically.
Yeah. Anything or
Ditto. I mean, well, to touch, it was funny because the thing I go into after the tom beats the bells, like.
Yep.
That's, I think, the most Mastodon-y thing that I played.
Like,
and like I was listening to a lot of Mastodon and Bron Daler.
Crystal
and,
Skull.
Yeah, so and we kind of joked when I wrote that, like we wrote that together, and it was just like, yeah, the fill and like just that. I'm like, that sounds kind of Mastodon. I'm like, I like that. I think that's it. I think we're done with that now.
I love that.
there's nothing wrong with that, especially when it comes to the drums.
Mm-hmm.
But and I may have said this, but I do want to touch on kind of what Nick also said, and we talked about the dynamics, but when you guys resolve something, when you take that tension away and you resolve it, like it just feels so good. Like you guys learned how to do that tension release so well with the music. You know, it adds with the dynamics, but then sometimes you just go into those like big chords or something, and they're just kind of like. You kind of feel that like, oh, I just cooled off in the water type thing. You know what I mean? Like on a hot day or whatever. So I might have a note about that, but I just wanted to get that in there too, because I know Nick kind of touched on that, some of the chords and the different tension and stuff. So then we go into Ontario. So this is unnervingly warm spring day in Canada's biggest city, a beautiful night amongst the skyscrapers. I put the clean intro into the progression of these crazy men going off on the drums. Then, so I guess I got hold of my ahead. Excuse me. I guess I got ahead of myself, just like my words right there. Then when you resolve it, that's where it just is fucking so badass. And then the guitar work at the end, like the arpeggio that you do on the end of this Ontario, is just absolutely insane. I mean, it's Lucius Fox territory, but I mean, just every single time you come up with a new like arpeggio, I'm just like, God damn, this dude, man. And then there's like the synth part with the tom. That kind of breaks down or whatever.
Yeah,
that part is just such a cool mood. Like I just love the moods that you're throwing at me. I just put so many vibes because there's just a lot of vibes going on in this, whether it's up, down, left, right, whatever. But what a cool fucking song that is too, man.
Thank you.
This one here, Ontario, I've got the organ and the rim shots start us off, and then the guitar makes an entrance with some soft chord strums and working those chords into arpeggios. So I think you did a great job of, once you find like the chord progression that you want, then just kind of like develop those a little bit more with the arpeggios, and then the layers with the synth and the lead lines. Awesome work on the snare, like rolling or ghost notes.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, like I'm always
so
impressed
good.
when a drummer, like how they work a snare, if it's a blast or a grind or anything. But one of my favorite techniques from a drummer is the way you can do those ghost notes, and you can get so much dynamics out of it. Just like if you're just a snare drummer in like a drum line, you learn all those dynamics and
those
stuff like
rudiments. And shit,
and like that really shines through when you're playing. Like, oh, that's almost, some of it almost sounds like black metal. You know, you guys go there with it. Like some of the busy work and the chord progressions, like it's fair to put that in your description. Now, you guys are not a black metal band by any stretch, but I love that you'll take it that far when you're getting into the intensity of it. And I love how unique your drumming is with an approach to something like a black metal chord progression. I'm like, oh, he's not just blasting away at it. He's like doing almost these rudiments on it and all this extra stuff that normally a drummer wouldn't do for that style of music. But awesome work on the snare. the choice techniques. I said the song switches over to distortion and then follows the same progression. Second guitar chimes in over the top of the chord progression. Steady upbeat, back into some chaotic riffage. Couple of passages back and forth. So you guys did bring riffs back. A lot of busy work complemented by nice, warm, distorted tones. Song begins to crescendo with the drums pushing the progression until the boys pull back into a nice, slow, melodic section, complemented by another simple but tasty lead guitar line that carries us out. And I think that's the part that Jay was talking about, the clean part at the end. Another beautiful, simple, tasty, repetitive.
Yeah.
I love how you didn't overdo it on some of these things where I felt like you could have gone busier with some of it, but he just remained like the lead work. A lot of those lines just remained nice, simple, circular melody. We already know what you can do on the guitar, so it's it's a great testament to like songwriting and being aware of yourself when you're just like, nah, I just need like 3 notes in a circle here, you know, and then that's the lead because that's the mood, and we don't need to do any more. We're already doing enough. So like when it comes to like actually putting melody in, you really shined by just saying 3 notes. I just need 3 notes in a beautiful circle here, and you did a great job of that too, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Nicely done on the end of that.
Heck yeah.
Tell us more about.
I think that was
Ontario.
the first one that we like had completed for this group of songs. And like I remember like that opening chord progression with the sick ghost notes. That was like the Ontario theme, like that chord progression, and I was playing it in a different tuning. And then I don't know, my fiance now, it was pretty cool. Erin, she's like, hey, thank you.
Yeah. That was something in my mind.
Oh, dude, no worries. But she was like, oh, that's a cool chord progression. I was like, oh, cool. All right. She likes it. I should do more with it. And we took a trip to Toronto. I guess that would have been the spring of 2024. And I had a guitar with me. And so I just remember like sitting in our hotel room and like working on that. And I was like, oh, I can change the tuning. And then I made it into like a cooler. I think it's a cooler. I think she actually said that she liked it better the other way. But I
change your stuff.
Yeah, I liked what it became. Then I just like I kind of like a lot of the imagery from that came from those couple days when we were in Toronto. It was during my midwinter break, so it was February, but it was like 65, 70 degrees, and it was like beautiful and really cool. But it was also kind of like, damn, it's a little early for this kind of weather. Yeah, just like kind of like trying to get that feel of being in the city along Lake Ontario.
Ditto?
Yeah, I mean, well, I just remember because it was a long time ago when you introduced that, and like that was when
it's like March of 24, probably.
Yeah, because like we didn't have any like. He's very good at like, hey, I have this idea, but like we hadn't really cemented anything or like really been working, and then like it was one practice that we were practicing a bunch off of Odysseus Sedaris and like for shows coming up, and then it was just like, hey, I got this riff, like a few things, and it was immediately like kind of lit a fire under me because we had been talking about putting together a full thing for a while, but not really working on the music quite yet, and then that happened, and I think pretty quickly like I got a similar beat to what was the finished product for me, and it was just like, oh, like we were pretty excited, and then like every practice we were progressing where he would come back and be like, hey, I got a few more parts to that, let's work on it, and then we jam and maybe make another part or 2 parts, and then it was like, hey, cool, we got half a song in a couple practices, and then I think it was finished up pretty quick. Where it was like
we did like a weekend run, and we were like in Ohio and Indiana, and we like were able to find a spot to like stay kind of in between that was really cheap in the middle of nowhere in like, I don't know, central Indiana. And so we just like we jammed all day, like the day between the shows, and we were working on that one and Erie. I feel like and those were like the first 2 that we really started to put together from the album. And I remember I think Erie had like the ending was different at that point, but like we had the first part of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those were the first ones that we were really working on.
I want to commend you on this too, as well as, you know, being an instrumental band. It's hard to, I'm sure, sometimes keep people interested because a lot of just your casual music listeners just usually listening for the vocals, right?
Yeah,
they're like, oh, where's that singing come in? And it's like, well, this isn't that. But I think you guys' choices as far as how long to drag something out or how to progress something, you guys made really good choices because you could drag something on way too long and it would just be like, man, that was like, we don't need to go 32 times on that, right?
Right.
So maybe we just make it an 8 and then we kind of build a little bit and build a little bit. So I think that is one of you guys' strengths, is just knowing, because you could be an instrumentalist band, right? And then you could just fucking drone off on something for 3.5 minutes and it could be the same 3 notes or something and it'd be like, oh, yeah, that's our instrumental. But it's just like, okay, what's the next thing? How can we progress that more? How can we build this more? How can we, you start with this and then you start this and then you start this and then you start this. It's just like, it makes a lot of sense. And I just really like that. It keeps the listener interested in a musical project, right? So you guys just do a really badass job with that.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Especially for one guy providing all of the melody over here.
Right.
And it'll start with a riff and then you'll have you'll loop it. So you got a melody coming in. And then maybe you can loop that too. I don't know, but I know that you reach for the keyboard quite a bit as well. So like, there's all of these layers going on, and just one guy providing it. So I love the way that you guys like build the riffs into a natural crescendo and say, okay, now Paul's going off on the drums. This riff should probably take off in another direction, or let's really look at like what does a distorted version of this sound like or look like, or what's the next riff in fact. So yeah, you guys know what you're doing when it comes to like progressing these riffs and knowing how long to sit around on those before moving on.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always about building. Like if we do think something's going on too long, it's usually like, do we want to stick with this and then maybe just, hey, last two, do you want to do a solo over it, or maybe I'll switch a beat that'll go better into the next thing for a switch. But yeah, it's usually, if we do have a block where it's like, hey, I'm doing the same melody,
a lot of this.
Then it's like, all right, well,
how can we make
that
it?
can only be the same for so long,
Right.
or you have to do something different over top, or I have to change the beat, or we just have to not do it as long.
Yeah.
Right. So, then we move into Erie. Youthful memories of Cedar Point and Cleveland, an entire city's water supply poisoned by anthropogenic algal blooms. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Science.
Anthropogenic extinction, isn't that like cattle decap?
That's Anthropocene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anthropocene. My
Yeah.
bad. Oh my God.
Same root.
Yeah, same goddamn, real close. But
My chair just sunk.
Oh no.
I don't know why. I just
been
split down an
you've
elevator.
been sitting in it too long, buddy. Another fantastic, clean intro jam on that. This is the one where I could really pinch out the low octave end on some of this. It really stands out on this, where I'm like, is there a bass player hiding in this band somewhere? Because I heard that. Another one that repeats, and this one's kind of a shorter one, right? The Erie. I think you guys got your point across very well, and I love how you guys bring parts back. I think that's super important because it can get a little riff soupy sometimes just because of all the progression and how long things could go. So when you do give me something back, like I had a lot of these parts stuck in my head after the first listen, and I'm just like, man, these guys, it's just like I said, dude, I don't want to suck your dick on camera, but at least without getting paid. But at the same time, like, dude, like I have so many awesome things to say about this record. It's just so fucking good, dude. And I just want to stress to our audience or anybody that listens to us or listens to you that like, you gotta fucking take this in, man. It is absolutely incredible. And then I just put the drum dynamics are so impressive on this. Just, I love your dynamics, man, because you just know when to be an animal and you know when to just kind of let Jeremy do his thing, you know, and you're just like, I'm just here to keep the rhythm. Yeah. And I'm going to let him do his thing for a while. And then just the outro on this is absolutely epic as well. So,
yeah, we got the clean guitar in the intro, complemented by a nice steady backbone pocket beat, borderline upbeat. Breaks down into a halftime feel with a really nice clean arpeggio progression. Builds back up into that backbone beat again. So talking about the repeating parts, and then once more into the aforementioned clean arpeggio. So a real quick back and forth between a pair of riffs right there in the beginning. And then in my mind, I just kind of dipped. I was like, I wonder if Lake Erie is this calm and beautiful. So it got me thinking about what it would be like to visit Lake Erie. I've been to Cedar Point, but I haven't really been to Lake Erie like that in a way that I could compare it to maybe Lake Michigan and really have that experience, which I haven't. So it got me thinking about what's this like, you know? So I'm thinking about this Lake Erie. I'm like, So I just kind of drifted in my mind to this place, which I think is a testament to what your music does. Like, it's instrumental, and you've given us some blurbs about your thoughts on where you're coming from and what the content is, what you're writing about. And I just go to these places sometimes with you, or I just think about it. I just drift and I go on this journey. Then I'm pulled back into a new clean riff that features some tom work by Paul, and that builds up into some distortion. And after a time of writing that melody, I'm back on the choo-choo train chugging along, part alternate picking, part pull-off extravaganza, and then the train takes me to the next lake. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about the Lake Erie story.
I love that description. That was really cool. Yeah, so that was one where it's like I was immediately trying to overcomplicate it. Like I had like
you never.
Yeah, believe it or not,
This is too easy. How can we make it harder?
I was like, Paul, this sucks. It's too easy. But like, I think I had like a lead that was going over the first, I guess, riff in that, and then ultimately it's just like it's a shorter song. It doesn't need to be. And I was trying to really lean into that. Although like the finished product probably doesn't sound that way. But I was trying to like dial it back a little bit. But yeah, that was one of the first ones that we had down. The end part used to be different. I really like what we switched it, or how we switched it though. Yeah, so the first couple sections are just kind of like pretty like nostalgia, Cedar Point, going to Cleveland, that kind of stuff. And then the last, I guess, kind of third of it, I was trying to like have a sonic representation of, I want to say it happened in 2011 or maybe 2014. But yeah, the city of Toledo, they get their water from Lake Erie, and there was this algal bloom from nutrient loading. So like too much fertilizer basically was leaching off of fields and getting into the Maumee River and draining into Lake Erie. And so like their entire water supply was poisoned for like, I want to say like a couple weeks. So like they just couldn't drink water because of this man-made problem. So like the end was like trying to sonically emulate that a little bit. But recording wise, we went directly in with the guitar on that one for the first section, where the really clean guitar, and then that, I think that bass sound that you were referencing. I think a lot of that comes from that DI of like all my signals, and it's the only spot on the album where we had that rather than like the amp sounds. And I was kind of going for like 80s funk guitar sound, even though it sounds nothing like that. But it was just a really fun experiment, and that was like an instance where like Chris and I were just kind of going back and forth, like, oh, what if we did this? Listen to this song, and we just like mad scientists did it, and it's a really unique sound amongst the album, and I'm really happy with how that came out.
Yeah, this was definitely a standout track to me, just because of how sonically it stood out against the other ones, where it had all the Lucius Fox elements, but at the same time there was just another new, fresh exploration of sound that you seem to accomplish on this. So, great job with that.
Thank you.
Any
like more just
issues
overall,
or-
just whoever listen to everything. Like that, I feel like that's why we're both so dynamic. Is we find joy in acoustic music, like poppier music, like funk music, obviously
Dance music,
heavy, like
yeah.
That's why like there's multiple dance grooves where I'm just doing like essentially what's a 4/4, just pretty fast on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rim shots where
noticed that
it's
too.
I'm on the ride or I'm on the hi hat and just doing rim shots. It's you can take from everything, but you're not going to be inspired by it if you don't listen to it. So just pull from everything that you like.
be diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it because I feel like, kids when they're younger, they find out the thing that they like, and then that's all that they listen to, and that's all that they play, and then that's all that comes out. Well, if you don't have some outside influence, you're just going to be sounding like somebody else that's kind of already done the thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then as you grow and as you play your instrument and as you learn, I feel like you just start pulling from other genres and then infuse it into what you're doing, which would be like an indie rock or an alt metal or what have you. But it does start to bring to life and give character to your writing more than simply sounding like one genre influence. And I think you're right. Once you start branching out, maybe you get into your 20s or 30s, start listening to some folk, country, pop, and what you got to do is not give a single fuck what anybody else thinks about your musical taste shifting.
Yeah,
it's like,
true.
hey, you used to be so heavy and listen to the deathiest death metal. It's like, well, I was 15.
Yeah.
I'm like a grown ass man now. I got to have some Cat Stevens in my day. You know what I mean? Like
Gin Blossoms.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And once you're able to just say, I like what I like, and it just helps me write better music, then I'm in full agreement with you, Paul. Just start pulling from other genres and don't care or listen to what anybody else says, because it's only going to help you grow.
I think in anything in life, who cares what anybody else thinks
Yeah, it's
about what the fuck you're doing?
I know, it's
period,
tough.
you know
It's
what I
tough
mean?
when you're younger, though.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough
Even
when
as
you're
an
older.
adult.
Yeah,
Kids
it's
can be
right.
little pieces of shit, man.
Kids are
Judgmental assholes.
Yeah, kids can
No,
be brutal.
absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, if you care about what people think, then you just start dissecting and looking at your own work under a microscope, and you just got to let all of that go and be like, dude, I'm just here. I'm just trying to be a person as best I can. I don't know.
You don't want to get
So,
into people pleasing by
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
you don't like what I like? Oh no,
But-
we can't be friends.
I think this album is a testament to do what the fuck it is you want to do.
Oh yeah, big time.
You know what I mean? Like, do what it is you want to do, and this is what could come out.
Yeah.
Something this badass, man.
Agreed.
So, then we go into Superior, the largest freshwater body on Earth, home to over 550 shipwrecks, waves over 28 feet tall, and some of the oldest rock on Earth's surface. That's pretty sweet. The epicenter of Michigan's labor movement when it is copper and iron mining industries. And then you put a monster, and that's just what this song is, dude. Jesus Christ. Opening just comes in ripping. What I wanted to know, I did write a question into this. It seems like it kind of goes into a loop almost right away, right?
Yeah.
So is that something you got that original riff first, and then you're like, okay, that maybe if I loop that and throw something on it, or is that like the original idea where you already have the two parts in your mind? Like, how do you discern that if you want to use the looper, going into writing something like this?
I think with that one in particular, like I had the first lead part first. Like I had the chord progression in mind, and like I had that so there's like it starts out with like a tremolo picked section, and then there's like a lead that follows that's really crazy that goes over the top of it. I think I maybe had that first, and I was like, I'll start with this, but I was like, oh, what if we built it up? But yeah, so we decided to go the route of starting with like the chords and then building that. And then I think actually it was during recording, I was like, I want to do another one, but I was like, I have to be able to do it. Like I can't. So yeah, there's two loops. So there's like, it starts out with like the rhythm part, and then I go to my other looping pedal, then I loop the like do 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 do, and then like so I get that going, and then I have like a tremolo picked lead over the top of it, and it's a lot, but I can do it most of the time, and land it.
So yeah, that was just interesting because I'm like, I definitely know you use a looper, but I just didn't know how you go about approaching that, because I know it's a lot of like tap dancing too live. So you may have all these ideas, but I know a big thing for you guys is being able to pull that shit off live too. It's not, you could do it we could put 10 guitars in the studio. That's easy, right? But we have one guitar, one drummer. So, and then I know you guys want to represent that. So that's why I just sprung the question, because I just thought that was really interesting. I could tell that you would have to do loops on some of your leads, but you also have to be mindful of all the other things that you're trying to present as well, and hit the loop pedal and make sure you're nailing the hard ass part that you're probably playing, because whatever you're playing 9 times out of 10 is not easy, and some technique that you got to almost be a virtuoso to be able to play. So
that one, it's like, then there's like, I got to cut both loops at the same time, so that's like double like feet on that, and my one looper is like broken, so it's like up this weird angle, so like I just like have all these barriers that I refuse to remove for myself.
I think it's always
That's
a
just
challenge.
part of
It's
the
always
beauty
a
of this
challenge
band.
if you're
It's
like,
gotta
hey,
be
I need to
hard.
make this harder.
What if
it's
I do it blindfolded?
not just playing the music is the hard part. It's like pushing all the pedals too, and the keyboard, and trying to, it's like, that's another part of the challenge. So then you got like this trems on this part. It's like a cleanish grind part almost, where you're like tremming on the guitar and he's fucking just blasting them. Like, that's sweet. And then I just put the groove that it goes into after that. This is one of those bigger like like he just starts doing this cool groove and you're kind of doing this. I just put that Superior. Makes sense. But this song is beefy. And this is the only song that actually on the album comes to an actual like close.
Yeah,
Where
it
it's like
ends.
end song, next song. Other than that, it was like, oh, okay, now we're gonna have like and it's only for a second, but I'm like, this song actually ends compared to all the other songs where just you could play them all back to back, right? So
it's 31 minutes. Like so
straight through.
when you get to Lake Superior, you got 7 more minutes to go before you can take a breath and come up for air, because it's really from the time you press play to the end of Superior, you're like 31 minutes into this album without a stop. So hats off to that. I want to see you play 31 minutes not stopping live
Next Saturday.
I was about to say next Saturday, album release.
Oh, yeah.
We have to.
It's going
we
off?
We have
Hell
to because
yeah.
we're playing the album in full.
Since it's a little bit longer song, Jay, you want me to give them my spiel, or you got more? Do you want to?
No,
add
that's
to it?
all. That's all I had.
That's what
on
you
that
got?
one, Yep.
So because it's longer, I have a little bit more notation here. But so we start out with a frenzy of riffage and chaotic drumming, borderline black metal vibes for a little bit here.
Love it.
The song works its way back to a bit of a chord progression mixed with some busy fills before settling into a clean passage of pull-offs. So it's kind of like the Lucius Fox chaos that Jeremy's normally doing, only this time it's a clean riff. We go back into distortion with a great deal of pull-off hammer-on work, as is your style. We got some neat guitar effect used on a few parts in this one. Like, is it a pitch shifter or an octave pedal or something? I couldn't quite discern.
Yeah. There's a lot of like 3 octave up, like really quick, like
Yeah.
some pretty harsh stuff in there.
The old alley cat getting caught in the garbage.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool because you didn't use it throughout the entire album.
Yeah.
It's not something that you kept going back to the well on.
Yeah.
You were just like, we're just going to do that effect in this song for this riff, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good choice of saying, okay, yes, but not a lot. I'll just have a pinch of that, please. So great work on that. We go into a trot beat, something like just it's hard to describe sometimes. I'm not a drummer. I don't know how to name these things, but it does sound like a little bit of a happy trot. Got some riffage before working our way back into a heavy section that is almost a grind or a blast beat. Some really heavy riffage with the guitar effect again. But then this is Lake Superior we're talking about, so this sounds as massive as it should for that title. I obviously had huge expectations of a track like this going into it. I really felt like you guys knew what you were doing. If we're naming a track Superior, it's got to be big. It's got to be heavy. It's got to be like the gnarliest track on the album, to which I did say definitely the heaviest song on the album so far. Knowing that July was ahead of me, I figured it's just going to be the heaviest album on the track, heaviest track on the album. After the heaviness peaks in a culmination of swirling noise, the song breaks down into a nice clean passage. That clean passage rolls into a black metal-esque section. Then that leads to a really cool melody line. These songs take my mind places. After the lead ends, some heavy low-end riffage takes over. The heavier riffage relents. And a moment of silence. So, yeah, I loved it. It was the actual first moment of silence throughout the whole album. I couldn't believe it. Some of these I had to kind of skip back because I'm like taking the notes. I'm like, holy shit, I just like zoned out for like 2 minutes listening to these guys.
Yep.
I'm like, I got to make sure I'm making my notes because, I'm listening to it, but I want to speak to it tomorrow so I can say, hey, I loved the way you went to the low end, just riff it out. It really sounded like Superior to me, a huge, heavy track, and I loved it. Got much experience up there on that lake?
Not as much as that's probably my second most visited one, I guess. Like it's hard. Like Lake Michigan's so accessible, but I love the UP. I at least get up there once a year.
Oh, yeah.
I got to go up to like the north coast of it one time in Canada, and that was really beautiful. But definitely like try to get up there at least once a year. Like we were just there like a month ago. We played in Marquette for the first time, and that was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's such a like. It's a monster. Like it's such a cool thing that we're close to the biggest, I don't know, freshwater body by surface area.
Which one is the deepest? Do you know, Jeremy? Is it Lake Erie or is it Lake Superior?
Oh, it's Superior.
Okay.
Yeah, Superior is the deepest.
I know it's the biggest. It's got the most water in it, but I know.
Yeah, there's a lake in Russia. I don't know. It'd be just cooler if like Superior was the biggest, but Lake Baikal is deeper.
Okay.
And so it has more like volume of water, but I don't know. Lake Superior is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Anything about the track?
We were trying to go pretty hard on that one. I think my favorite, like one of my favorite moments on the album is there's like a big dumb riff that's like kind of like Inter Arma, like Remission Mastodon sounding, and the when it comes back, like Paul's just like going insane on the drums, and like going into that, there's that like high pitched thing, and then there's this. I asked Chris if he could do like a phaser or like flange on the drums, and it's like,
Yep.
and it just comes in so hard. Like I'm really proud of that section. It sounds disgusting, and it's relatively simple compared to a lot of the other stuff, but it goes hard and it sounds cool.
Yeah, the groove that I was talking about on this, that was like one of the times where you guys just kind of let it go into like almost a metal type of groove or whatever.
Yeah.
It just had so much impact because you're just like, oh, fuck yeah. You know? And then I think you guys go into like some bigger chords almost, like resolution after that, where it kind of just even breaks down further. But just like that initial, like just kind of simple fucking like kind of breakdowny, groovy part, I was like, man, this part is badass, dude.
Thank you.
So, what a great song that is, man. But I think you pulled that off of what you guys wanted to accomplish with a song like Superior for the length and just the beefiness, the 28-foot waves, you know, the shipwrecks. Like, I can see it and hear it all when you guys are playing. And it's just, man, fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, job well done. You really nailed the title to the music like perfectly. So
thank you.
Yeah,
nice work.
I will say that's on this album. That's my favorite to play. At least to play. It's just
That's fair.
It's a lot of fun, and it's the length is like solid. Where it's like, hey, we can slide this kind of anywhere. It is a good ender too. Like the end section, we messed with a little bit, and then we got it to where it's like, okay, that's great to end Superior like that.
The drums are so wild at the end. Like just we like take that kind of riff and then just like translate it to 16th notes, and it's in 5. It's like a weird, like that entire last section's in 5/4, and like trying to make that like still kind of headbangable was like a fun challenge.
Making a 5/4 groove is not easy. It's doable, but man,
it's weird. It's like a paradigm shift for sure. Like I feel like we play stuff in 7 pretty regularly, and I feel like that's like one of the more accessible odd meters. And we were like, with the 5 Great Lakes, we need to have at least some stuff that touches on 5, and it's just such a weird timing. But like I feel pretty good about that ending, and like those riffs sound pretty cool.
Yeah, at no time in this whole record, even with some of the weird off-time stuff, like I was like, oh, I need to count that, or I need to feel that, because we talked about that before the last time you guys were on, that 5s are always kind of weird because they never resolve, so you could like literally just play a 5 for 5 minutes straight, and it still feels like you could repeat it again, because you really have to like pay attention to like when that 5th note comes to go back to note 1, you know,
where's
because
1?
Exactly, because 5 is just always weird.
Yeah,
because you're just like, it's just a constant revolution, you know.
The
like
thing I love
cog.
about 5 is 1, but not quite.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Little
Wait a
extra.
psych.
Yeah. So,
It's
but
great.
at no time in this record did I feel like any of that was, you know, I guess hidden or, you know, like overseen by the technicality of that riff. You could still be like,
Yeah. It was
feeling it, you know.
Yeah, at no time did I feel like it was too complicated to listen to. I was like, I know that there's a lot going on. I know that the fills, you'll add like extra length on the second rotation or the third or fourth. There'll be different lengths on the fills. So that's one thing. But at no time was I like, this is too hard to listen to, because it wasn't. It was, you know, his riffage, your drumming. You just take it for that. And I could just bang my head to the beat almost the whole time. Like at no time was I tripping over like odd time signatures like this doesn't work. Right. It worked fine. I wasn't counting anything at all. I was like, I know what I'm getting here. I'm not gonna count anything. I'm gonna let Paul do what Paul does, and I'll believe in him. I know we're gonna land in the groove somewhere, man. Good stuff.
Yep. And then we get to the final track. So I'm assuming like the end of Superior comes to a close for a reason, because this is almost maybe its own kind of piece, because it's like it's the longest piece on the record, right? So, and I'll just read your little blurb, you don't mind, right?
No,
so
do it up. Yeah.
The sense of dread, the horror of loss, the juxtaposition of real death and a beautiful evening, the inability to sleep, the financial strain of unexpected loss, the power of community and mutual aid. The beauty of northern Michigan, the love of family, the Lake Michigan sunset, the silver reflection of the sun in the waves, and the ability for those that we lose to live on through the connections that gave us. So I know this song just had a lot of meaning to you personally behind it, and I'm sure you felt that as well. I mean, you guys are kind of one and the same at this point, as far in your journey, you know. Same with Nick and I, you know, it's kind of like he's feeling something, I'm going to feel it, because we've just been connected through so many, you know, music and all of our memories throughout the years, right? So to me, absolutely enthralling song. The beginning is epic, and then I just put a godforsaken rock beat. There's just a rock beat. You're just like, we're just playing this fucking rock beat for like, you know, a little bit. And I just put perfect, because it was perfect for me. I'm like, dude, how cool is that? Like, you can do all of this stuff, and you're like, man, I'm just going to play a rock beat here for a little bit. I'm like, dude, that is great. The tension, the turmoil, there's like this triplet tension, and then you kind of do the release. And then when that gets released after that, absolutely perfect. Another note that says Paul's drums are insane. I don't know when you'll get to that point across by the end of this album. Then that's like right before the sweep part, and you're doing those sweeps. And then we kind of talked a little bit about that before. You don't do that to kind of like jerk off, but but you absolutely do that. And I love the art, because one of those, you put this weird like dissonant note in one of those sweeps where you start it on the second one, and then when you get to the fourth rotation and you do it again, the first time you're like, is that a bad note? And then when you hear it again, you're like, no, that fits in the whole context of not just doing that same sweep 4 times in a row or whatever it would be. So, and then you kind of go into this sick like arpeggio riff. That kind of reminded me of like a polyphia, like a like you kind of do this little, you know, and then you go into a synth part, and then you put the guitar arpeggio over the top of that. This is one of the most incredible pieces of music I have ever heard. When I was done with this thing, I was staring at my phone, staring at this computer. I'm just like, what in the fuck just happened to me? And I'm just like, and then I made that Facebook post, and I'm just like, man, I got to jerk these guys off under the table when I see them on Sunday. I was just like, what in the fuck just happened to me? And like, the whole thing is great, but like this July track, I was just like, this was a whole nother thing. It was just like, you know, when you want a little cherry on the top and a little frosting, this thing was like a heap of frosting like this, and just like 25 cherries on the top of this whole like thing, dude. It's just absolutely insane.
Thank you.
I know my words aren't as good as Nick's, but I just go more on passion than.
Thank you.
Jay's good for feeling. I love it. So for me, well, I had a couple of thoughts on this one, and I just kind of lost one, but I'll go to the other one. So when I think of, without reading any of this, and I got a bit here to read. It's a long song. It's 14 fucking minutes. I had a lot to say. When I think of July, and especially in terms of like you and your profession, right?
Yeah.
I think of the 1 month in the whole year, no work.
Yes.
Right? Because school ends in the beginning of June. So June's out because I got some work to do. And August is out because the kids are coming back. So July is the 1 month of the year, total freedom. All to yourself. 31 days, do whatever you want. Go where you want, do anything. And so I thought that must be some of the reason, and I know there's another reason that you will tell us about, and at, you know, however you want to lay it out there. But that was my feeling on it, like summer, Lake Michigan, or the Great Lakes in Michigan. And I just felt like the song I felt like the idea of it was like freedom was in my mind. Now, you can tell me it's all these other things, but I just thought in my mind, like just pure, unbothered freedom. Like nobody tells me what to do for these 31 days. And that was kind of what I took out of it. And now I will jump into what I have written, and then I'll hand it back off to Jeremy. So July, I'm 2 seconds in and I'm ready to cry. Like that melody immediately just had a hook on my heart. I was like, ooh. And I know what Jeremy's going through or has gone through. So that sits right there too. And I'm thinking about, okay, I know what happened in July. And I know this song is going to be very emotional. So I'm like, my lips quivering. I'm emotional just thinking about it. I just got, you know, what a beautiful introduction. The beat picks up, and I know I have a 14-minute journey ahead of me, and I'm filled with wonder and bewilderment. I love the tremolo melody over the top of the atmospheric wall of music in the background. The song takes a dip in energy and settles on a nice, slow, clean passage before building up into some upbeat, familiar territory. Another slow passage complemented by some rim shots keeping time, and here comes the choo-choo train. Some alternate picking metal riffage comes along, and it's topped off with a nice lead with a bit of flanger or chorus effect. I couldn't quite tell, but I know you're always putting something on, maybe some extra reverb or something. Heavy riffage follows that up. Paul accents some nice low end before building the drums up into another frenzy that leads us into some of the craziest busy work of the album so far. These pull-off riffs have so many different variations. I can see how this is like 5 years in the making, some of it, it's a lot to remember as I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh my God, like how many iterations of this riff existed before we finally settled on this is the riff and we're done. Yeah. This didn't just happen overnight or in one sitting. This is like a lot of, going back to it. The busy work finds itself becoming a steady head-bobbing riff, so probably the rock beat that Jay mentions, for a few bars before working back into some more pull-off insanity. This song has 8 more minutes to go, laughing my ass off. How? I feel like I've gone to the moon and back already. After a bit more chaotic pull-off riffage, another black metal riff arrives, and this one complemented by a series of sweeps working side by side with the chord progression behind it. So you're basically sweeping over your chord progression. I thought that was tasty because knowing that you can sweep, I figured you can, but like you don't do it everywhere in every song. We're only doing it one time. And so again, another, just like the guitar effect. Like we use it one time in the one riff, and then with the sweeps, we're just going to do sweeps this one time.
It's not our identity.
Yeah. We didn't have to like show off guitar skills or techniques necessarily all throughout the album, just as they fit when we want to use them. So I thought, again, another like intelligent, tasty decision to just decide to do those sweeps in that one spot. I love how thick the tones are in the next passage. I'm hesitant to say there is an actual bass guitar on this album at any point. We found out there's not, but there are times when it does sound that way.
That was the real reason Nick was crying. He thought there was a bass.
They don't need
Damn it.
Hey, I'll tell any of these bass players right now, quit. Buy a 7-string.
Don't need you.
Yeah, just buy a 7-string. We've been replaced. You might as well play your bass, understand root notes, listen to it. But like any more of these days, I can see why bands go out there without them. Sorry, it is what it is, guys. You want to write your own songs? Grab a 7-string, maybe an 8-string. So we've got a heavy synth chord progression backed by a nice steady beat from Paul. Jeremy jumps in with another sweet repetitive or cyclical melody section to ride out this keyboard passage with steady 4-on-the-floor beat. Maybe that was the rock beat that you're mentioning. But yeah, a couple of times you definitely settled into, I don't need to be flashy here. And I love that too, which is a testament to both your guys' playing, because when you know when to pull back for the sake of the song, it's not always chaos and frenzy and animal behind the kit. It's knowing that, okay, right here, this is all we need right here is just a little steadiness. And then we got, that ends and Paul carries us on the toms for a bit before the guitar joins back in with a little line, which then moves up the neck a little higher register. That's probably just Jeremy either looping or progressing the riff on his own. I love the accent notes on the drums and how the last accent isn't on one. So you got some parts where you're doing like maybe some cymbal grabs or something, and it's like one, and then the next time like that you do like 3 accents, and that next one isn't on one, it's like on and or on 2.
It was a while because there was a few times where we're like, crap, wait, what one is it on? Because we were like, and then we got it down where it's like, okay, cool. It's yeah. And then into this.
I was like, as a listener and as a musician, I was like, that had to take a little bit of time to nail that one down. I was like that, because even as a listener, and I was like, I know he didn't just make a mistake. My ears are tricking me into thinking he made a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. I was like, that was intentional, and you did it several times to prove certainly intentional. And I was like, man, that must have been hard to nail that one down.
I wish I knew like what it actually was. Like I feel like it's on the offbeat of like between the second and third or so. Like I don't know. It was just one of those things where I was like, hey, what if we did this? And Paul's like, hell yeah. And then we had to practice it a bunch, and we're finally able to do it.
Yeah, I just looked at it as the sort of thing where like it had to have been discussed. Oh, yeah. And then once they discussed it, it was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Difficult. Super difficult. That part really threw me. The part builds into a nice chuggy alternate picking riff with a long pull-off fills at the end of that section. And a new riff follows, but in the same vein, a heavy riff with long fills tied on to the end. So this is like a staple of your sound. You've got like 1, 2, and 3 iteration of like the riff. So you play the riff like 3 times over. But then instead of like even touching the riff on the 4th time around, it's just this huge long fill. Yeah, all the pull-offs, and then you go back into your... So this is a style that you guys do throughout the album and throughout all of your catalog, really. And then the album ends in a complex, syncopated, pounding rhythm that is surely the sound of my head exploding. Wow. What a journey. Hats off to these two. There's a lot of work. That's a lot of work and a lot of beauty, and definitely something to be proud of.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cheers, gentlemen. Give you one of these. Woo, yeah, yes. Great work. What an outstanding album. And, Jeremy, I guess we've said all that we have to say about your album and July. Why don't you tell us about July and then the whole thing, if you will, however you want to put a bow on it, for the death and life of the Great Lakes.
Yeah. So that song was the last one that we wrote for the album at the beginning of this year. I said it earlier, but we had kind of an initial idea for what this was going to be like with kind of the 3 parts. And then it was like, that wasn't going to happen. It's like we had the 5 Great Lakes songs pretty much good to go. And then we had Lake Isle Memorial, and it was just like, that's like, I don't know, like 31 minutes. And it was like, we were intending on putting out a full length, and like we wanted a little bit more than that. And so I was just like, I could write kind of like a companion piece to that Lake Isle Memorial and just kind of like bookend it that way. So I just tried to like kind of like sonically go through like the few days like around when my mom died. And then that gave me an opportunity to like bring back some of the themes from Michigan, which was like being like kind of the concept-y sort of band and like trying to make everything unified. It was cool to like bring that back. So the like 7/8 passage that ends Michigan comes back and is kind of treated a little bit differently there, but it's very much the same riff. And then the main big chord progression from the end of Lake Isle Memorial also kind of comes back at the end. And it was a lot of fun. It was like a heck of a song to write. It's obviously like it's emotionally heavy. But yeah, I'm really proud of it, especially kind of towards the end, the section with like the weird drums. Like I was really, when I mentioned it earlier, but when I ended up like going up north, like a couple days after my mom passed away, it was beautiful. And like I drove up in the late afternoon, and I got there in the evening, and my family and some like friends, there's this day where everybody just kind of gathers on the beach, and it's called Christmas in July. And so it's just like kind of like a celebration being around people. And I was just like walking up to it like, this is really fucking weird. Like my mom's dead. I'm like getting in my head about like, how do I interact with these people? Like I know it's weird. Like they know it's weird. Like it's going to be like a weird thing, but it was beautiful. And I just like got there. I said, what's up to my family? And then I just like went out. And I went swimming in Lake Michigan, and like the sun was setting, and I mean, that was just like me and my mom's spot. So I was like out there, but I had like this really like pretty cathartic moment, just like in the beautiful water, watching the sunset, thinking about my mom. And I tried to like capture that sort of feeling with that section of just like the do 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 that we sort of build up. And I just feel like it like came out like the best that it could have, and I'm really happy with that. And like I get the imagery in my head when I listen to it that I wanted, and I'm really proud of it.
Good, you should be. And I think you did a great service paying tribute to your mother with all of this music, especially the bookend pieces, and just knowing that it's about more than the Great Lakes. This is Jeremy kind of telling a story, especially on the intro and the outro of the album.
Yeah,
like these are the pieces that speak to that the most, and then the rest of it would just be like your experiences with these bodies of water and this environment in Michigan, in and around our state. Just beautiful, all said and done, and you have it. You definitely should be proud of yourself, especially for this one and how much it means to you personally. I think that this is the one to definitely kind of like sit in it and be proud of it, and just kind of take that in, without any guilt, shame, or negative emotion about it. Like, let all that slough off. If it is lingering at all in the back of your mind, sit in it longer until there's no guilt or shame about the pride that you feel in this body of work. Because you guys have come a long way. You got a prolific body of work, Jeremy. Like we discussed that in the last episode. And I thought the same as I'm listening to it. I'm like, man, this cat's pretty young, and he's got a lot of work. Like he's done a lot of music over time, and the stuff when you enter Paul into the equation, I mean, now you're a well-oiled machine.
Exponential.
Yeah, and now you've got a guy back here who's a beast. He just complements so well and understands like the vision, his place in the vision, how well you guys work together. So, like I said, just when you get around to it on your own and you're thinking about it, yeah, totally be proud of it. Like, just wear it like a little badge of honor. Like, yeah, I did that. Because I want, when people hear this, to think, I have to do that. I have to play music like that. That's the feeling that I want the listeners to get out of it. If you ever thought about picking up an instrument, listen to this album, and then try not to. Like, if you had any intention of ever playing music and you're a kid, listen to this album and then bug your parents for a guitar.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
bug your parents for a drum set or a keyboard, because that's kind of what it's about, like being inspired.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, Paul, both of you guys did a great job of inspiring me to want to play more and just dive into my musicianship and songwriting. I tell myself things like, well, I don't have to be that good, but I want to be like that intense about it. I want to be that emotionally connected to my music. So if my stuff sounds like doom metal, but I feel it, like that's where I want to go with my music now. Like I've done a lot, Jay's done a lot, and that's kind of why I'm just kind of like, I've been sitting and waiting to see what I'm going to do. I feel like the next thing I do has to be emotionally provocative. It has to be deep meaning to me. I don't want to go out there and do cool riffs and breakdowns and look at me stuff. Kind of done all that in my 20s and 30s. Now I just want to play music that people can connect with. And I think you guys did that. And that's the most important thing when you're playing music. Yeah, do it because you love it. But if you're going to put it out there, like if you're going to record it and give it to people, you want it to connect. And I think that's what you guys really achieved with this one. Not that you didn't in the past. Obviously you did. You'd been doing great work for a long time. But this is the one where you just really stand on top of the mountain, plant the flag, and step back with the arms crossed. And yes, we conquered it. We climbed that mountain. And now there's a new mountain in front of you. We don't know what it is, where it's at, because we're on this one right now. I'd stand on it for a good minute.
I was saying, creatively, you might be worried about that next mountain, but I would say let's not even worry about that right at this moment.
Yeah.
Just take this in and take it for everything it is. But Paul, I'd like to hear maybe any final thoughts or just your approach or however you're taking it all in. I mean, obviously the album gets released this Friday, so just can you give us a few words about it? Or
I mean, I love Jeremy. Like so much. I mean, it's mutual. Like it's definitely mutual, but this experience obviously for him was incredibly rough, and there were right moments. Obviously, he took it like a fucking champ. I know Aaron was there for you, and I think that was your biggest support system. But like,
shout out Aaron.
Yeah, this whole I don't know. This experience was.
I mean, this band,
all
though,
the
too,
emotions,
like this is a huge help in like navigating that, like getting to do what we do.
Yeah, mute, like just writing these, playing, being able to play music, being able to play the shows. I definitely think July. It's our biggest like single song, like single piece of music that we've ever put out, and going with this album, I think it's pretty much like, hey, this is the album, and then July is, hey, this is the album. Like compressed
epilogue.
into 14 minutes. It's just
makes sense.
Yeah, upon that, and I'm definitely incredibly proud of it. I'm happy we're finally releasing it and having a show to be like, hey, this is what we fucking worked on for a few years and like tweaked and got to where we wanted it. And and honestly, luckily the future is just like, I don't think we ever are like terrified or like, oh crap, where do we go from here? Especially with how prolific of a writer he is. It's usually just like, hey, I got this cool sounding riff, and then it just goes from there. And he has a brainstorm of like, hey, I have this whole entire thing in my head, but I got 5% of it right now, and that's it, and that's it, and it's like, cool, we got to start, and that's all it is. And we don't know what we have a plan of where everything is going to go whenever we start it, but it's like it changes on the way. It's just like life. It's, oh, this happened. Okay, well, we need to change this then. Or, oh, it's not quite what we thought that was going to be, but this is cool. So we'll just go in this direction instead right now. It doesn't have to be anything. It is what it is at the end.
Yeah.
And it's the journey getting there. I know, cliche, but it's literally, it's like the fun is having the struggles on the way of figuring it out. And then once it's there, it's like, hey, cool. Now you can remember everything that you went through that went into this freaking piece of vinyl, like this vinyl or that song that you're going to click the button on and listen to. It's like, oh yeah, I remember struggling with that fucking beat because you wrote this part that I'm like, what is that? I'm like, it's even though we've been playing for so long, I'm in the same boat as you guys usually of like, I sit there and just stare at him playing for a minute and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to write something for this. Okay, yeah, let's
run
go.
it back one more time.
Yeah, it's
maybe 10 more.
Just you got the looper
then it's
pedal.
like-
Just
Dude,
loop
I
it.
literally, that's most of the time I'm like, hey, can you loop that? And he's like, well, I need to practice it, so I'll just keep playing it like
and then my wrist like
just
cramps
falling
up. Well, yeah, because it's like I'm like, no, I need to just keep playing.
That makes sense.
I could just see Paul telling him, "Go take a lunch. You know, just loop it. Go make a sandwich. Come back in 30 minutes. I'll see where I'm at. Maybe we can really jam it."
Well, to be mindful of time, I just want to touch on a few more things. I would never want to rush you guys out of here, but today was kind of just a little special circumstance. I'm glad you guys got to come, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having
sharing
us.
your art with us. Yeah, for sure. Like I said,
Anytime.
and then we made it work. So like we try to stay true to our word as well. And if you got something that's this amazing that we can help try to push to our audience as well, and that makes a lot of sense for us. But a great record isn't always just the musician. So engineered and mixed by Chris Frankhauser at Ray Gun Recording Studios. He's actually a gentleman I'd like to talk to just because of all the music that he does and stuff. His name keeps coming up. I swear 2 weeks ago we had someone on that just recorded with him as well. So and then mastered by the homie Blake Bickle, of course, always the homie. Dynamic Sound Services in Kalamazoo. Lake Isle Paintings by Kelsey Good. I love the painting. Means a lot. It just encompasses everything. And then layout, typography, and Lucius Fox logo designed by Juan Dean. Also, I want to give a formal apology myself. We got to play a few weeks ago the fun off at the runoff thing. I didn't get to stay around and watch you guys because it was like it was a Friday. I try to watch everybody, especially the homies. But it was like a Friday. The show got pushed back like an hour and a half.
Oh yeah,
there were so many, 2 more bands.
So
like
many
before.
bands.
It was incredibly hot too.
And I was up at 5 a.m. that morning, and then like had to work, and then you drive to KC, and then we play, and it was so hot in there. My heart rate was elevated for 35 minutes after like I was in a sauna playing, basically.
It was
usually
insane.
your heart rate's elevated when you're done, and it kind of goes off. My heart rate, like on the way home, was still going.
Yeah.
Goom. And I watched the Atwater, and then the other band, I was just like, man, I feel so bad because I want to watch Lucius. I don't want to miss you guys. You guys are the homies too in my book at this point too. So
for sure.
So I felt really bad that I didn't get to stay around and watch you guys.
No worries.
It was cool to be able to share the stage with you guys again though. Hopefully we get to
We'll do it again soon.
So
For sure.
so I just wanted to formally apologize. Other than that, I just want to say great record. We can kind of put a pin in it if you guys want to, unless there's anything we missed or anything. I know you guys are fucking gigging hard. You guys played last night and you played the night before too, right? So I know you guys are always out there gigging. So look for a show with these guys, probably supporting this album for a while, right?
Oh yeah.
And once again, too, we could always have you guys on in another 6-8 months, and we could just talk about still all the questions we never got to from the first or second episode, because there's still a lot of just like hangout cool stuff that we could dive into that we haven't got to. We've just really focused. You have so much music that's what took up the whole 2 hours the first time, and then this album, it needed a proper like breakdown and a proper highlight on the whole thing, right? So make sure you guys go get this record. Comes out September 12th. And then if you would like to, if there's nothing else, if you guys want to put a wrap on it, if you would like to, you can just kind of say anything you want to in that camera about the record. You don't necessarily have to stare right into it, but that helps too.
Whole time, and do not blink.
But yeah,
September 12th, the best record ever written, ever recorded, drops. Take that between the buried and me.
Nice.
The life and death of the Great Lakes.
Hell yeah.
oh yeah. What about you, Paul? You got anything? You got any bands to call out?
Paul Wagner.
I mean, I can't. That was good.
Okay.
That was good, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we got at least a little blurb in there that we could put in there for the clip. And with that being said, Lucius Fox, you guys rule, man.
You guys rule. We love you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
I
you,
want to
sir.
ask Jeremy one quick question.
Go ahead, buddy. I just we got about 10 minutes, so we're good.
I feel like the thing that I lost around the time we started talking about July, it came back to me with the looping and just even the musical style. I had this question. Have you or are you familiar with the band Ulcerate?
Yes.
Okay, so
Dude, I love Ulcerate.
okay, because it's a little bit of a stretch because they're so metal.
Yeah.
But between their cleans and the looping effects that my guy uses, I forget his name, I apologize, and the crazy drum work by their drummer, Jamie St. Marat, like, I feel like, I know it's not really Jay's favorite band, one of my favorite bands, and I'm like, I wonder if Jeremy's familiar with this band because it's a little bit of a stretch, and yeah, you got the death metal fry vocal, maybe you take that out, and they're almost like a doomy version of you guys because they go into the blasts and the grind and the black metal stuff, but they're not a black metal band per se. They're from like New Zealand,
Dissonant, like
micro
metal.
black metal, something like microtonal black metal. But I just had to ask you if you're not, I would.
No, I love them.
Okay, good.
They're coming back this year, right?
Yes, I'll probably be there.
At the
it's like
Sanctuary, I
a Friday
think.
or Saturday in Detroit.
I need to get tickets for that because I've missed them like every other time they've come through.
And that's the thing, when these foreign bands come through, I jump on it because you don't
know the next time they're going to be back.
if they will.
Yeah.
Because of money. It's expensive to tour in the States when you're from out of the country. So I just had to ask because that was another thing that I heard in your music. You'd have to kind of know that band. And then you'd have to think, well, does he know that band? But yeah, I had to get that curiosity out of the way. That's cool.
That was
to know.
I'm blanking on the name of the one that came out last year with like the
Cutting
red.
the Throat of God.
Oh fuck yeah.
I was like both of you immediately.
Well, that's because
this is it.
I mean, that's
the hardest fucking album.
It is
title.
hard as fuck. It's a really amazing. That was one of my favorite albums last year.
To me, it's real run of the mill. I just kind of feel like he just kind of goes back to the same stuff all the time. But it's not that it's not good. It's just kind of not for me because I'm not really. Besides you guys. Maybe one with the Riverbed. There's not a lot of bands that kind of like can do a lot of longer songs that I don't know. I'm just a very simple-minded guy. I like the technicality, but I need some things to hold on to. And for me, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Maybe I expected more. I don't know, but I kind of just felt it was.
I don't mean to put you on blast.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Know.
It's fine. It just kind of. Reminded me of the same album they did the 2 years before.
That's fair. 2020. Yeah.
That's the only bad thing.
Like
it wasn't like anything new where
they have a thing that they do well, but they don't really expand beyond that thing very much.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, you know? I mean, great band, great players. You know, it's just nothing for me there because after like 4.5 minutes, and then I got to song 6. I'm
another 40 minutes.
It's still the same song as the first song. It sounds like all the same key that he's kind of doing the same tricks that he did in the first one. I'm just kind of like, I get it. Do your thing. Do it. I mean, no one sounds like them. That's what I love about it. You know what I mean? Like they're their own thing. So I give anybody praise. I don't ever want to de-edify anybody
for sure.
Any music or art because it's their art. Do what you do. But when art is also subjective and you take what you take out of it. I just didn't get a lot out of it. I'm not saying that first song didn't rule. But I didn't need 6 more that sounded just like it.
That's the same part. That was the same part of my review on the album. I was like, look, you put this thing on, you listen to track 1. And you can stop it after track 1 if you don't like it. Because you're getting 6 more track 1s. No punches pulled. They do what they do. I love their style. I know Jay's got bands like Nails.
Oh, yeah.
Loves it. And I'm like, I'll listen to it with you. I'll go to the show with you. But it's not something I'm going to put on. Ulcerate, I'll take my dog for that 50-minute walk, and I'll enjoy every second of that walk. Oh, it's so good. So I just had to ask that question. I really super-duper appreciate your guys' new album coming out. Thank you again.
Yep. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Lucius
you guys.
Fox.
Seriously.
Appreciate
Everybody.
you guys. And with that being said, keep it metal. Keep it foxy. Please.
Peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.